Hey everyone, it's Rich Vision. I hope you are doing well today. Today, I just been overthinking a lot, and I'm just grateful for my accountability team who always, empowers me to keep going. I had been in my head about doing more videos, like live videos about my book and regards to sharing stories about my book. So I will actually be doing a reading of one of the poems in my book. If you didn't know already, I am a published author. A book is called From Victim to Victor, Transforming Trauma into Triumph. So this poem is basically called Empty Me. Empty me from malice. Empty me from vendettas. Empty me from losing hope. Empty me from this brown rope. Empty me from overthinking. Empty me from underachieving. Empty me from internal bleeding. Empty me from deceiving. Empty me from toxicity. Empty me from not being someone's remedy. Empty me from blades. Empty me from thinking I'm life's biggest mistake. Empty me from resent. Empty me from cold regret. Empty me from holding you hostage in my head. Empty me from thinking life was better off dead. Empty me from not loving you like a brother. Empty me from comparing myself to another. Empty me from vengeance. Empty me from reciting a death sentence. Empty me from being childish. Empty me from believing I had no promise. Empty me from rage. Empty me from voices that haunt me every day. Empty me from wanting to toss you down the stairs. Empty me from thinking that you were never there. Empty me from not chasing my dreams. Empty me from thinking life would be better off if I wasn't here. Empty me from self-sabotage. Empty me from feeling I never belonged. Empty me from self-abuse. Empty me from calling myself weak in front of you. Empty me from granting you power. Empty me from crying in the shower. Empty me from losing sleep over comments. Empty me from not holding onto God's promise. Empty me from vices. Empty me from placing my dreams in a coffin. Empty me from not seeing my fullest potential. Empty me shortening myself. Empty me from people pleasing. Empty me from people who don't serve my needs. Empty me from believing I was worthless. Empty me from thinking that you were the biggest threat. Empty me from not chasing my next level. Empty me from not taking accountability. Empty me from choosing to demoralize my self-worth. Empty me from holding a hostage in my head. Empty me from not believing I am in control. Empty me from not choosing the life that I am owed. Empty me from self-neglect. Empty me from self-abuse. Empty me from a narrative that I never choose. Empty me for not seeing me as a CEO. Empty me from placing me last. Empty me from treating my worth like a piece of trash. Empty me for believing that men don't get therapy. Empty me from anything or anyone hindering me and my destiny. Empty me from not stepping into my purpose. Empty me from thinking I was worthless. Okay, that was hard. Yeah, I will be doing this more often. And if for those who don't know, I was going through mental abuse with a mentor from a couple years ago that I've been working with on my music career. Unfortunately, we had a falling out due to the mental abuse that was imposed. However, I realized that that I also took accountability for me initiating the conversation that led to the mental abuse. And after that, I was working on getting better as far as like healing through motivational videos, going into therapy, and also confiding in communities. Um, however, even through that time, I was writing a lot of stuff that were negative towards my mentor at the time. And, I felt guilty even saying it, but that was really something that I faced head on, because I was resentful. I wanted to be honest, I wanted to toss her down the stairs. And I know that is something that is very telling of the type of person that, um, that was from my past. But I'm also speaking of me as like a new version of myself now, and thinking about it from the past sense, and looking more with a bird's eye view, that those thoughts were valid. However, um of course I didn't do anything to her, because I know that that doesn't really help the issue. That doesn't make me get better as a person who is attempting to heal from mental abuse. And that one was really hard for me to write, because I am pretty much telling myself, like, empty me from, like, hating the fact that, like, I don't feel good around you, and I'm tolerating you just because of the class. But after the class is done, I just don't want nothing to do with you going forward. And it just really helped me navigate better, to know that I don't I sleep better at night, knowing that I don't have to hold on until that negative, mindset of mental abuse, and going back into those patterns of self-sabotage. I even write here about, I'm me from thinking life, was better off if I wasn't here. And I used to think that when I was going through mental abuse, I was feeling like I was the only one going through it. And I had a hard time wrestling with the fact that there's actually other people who are going through the same issues. Um, and I was thinking in my head that life was just like meaningless, like, like nobody would care if I just, commit suicide, swallow that, and during this time I really had a hard time with being, um, stepping into my purpose, because the mental abuse, it gave me, it gave me like a sense of, it really demoralized my self-worth. It made me feel like I was less than, that I was being manipulated and controlled and micromanaged, in that regard. And I was verbal about what I was going through with the mentor. And I spoke to her. um but for me it was more like I didn't want to live like that, because for me it wasn't something that I was proud of. I wasn't proud of being resentful. I wasn't proud of writing all these negative things. Like, I was looking at myself like I was a monster. And it took so much inner work to be able to get to a place where I honestly say I do forgive her for, the mental abuse, a year, after the fact that it happened, because I know the forgiveness and the healing was for me, not for necessarily for her. Um, and she may or may not feel like she did anything wrong. But for me, I know, like, for my inner peace, I did forgive her, and I did let it go, as hard as it was to let it go, because again, those dark thoughts that I had when I was going through mental abuse is something that really, I can't in a sense take back. I did relive it plenty times after the fact, and I sometimes, even when I'm writing songs, sometimes I still relive those thoughts. However, I'm not in a place where I revert back into, like, hating her for what happened. And I believe everything happens for a reason, and it is a testimony of being someone who has been facing mental abuse, to say that I can also be a testament for someone who's also going through the same things, who's harboring resent because they were mentally abused. And and I do hold space for people who have been through mental abuse, because I know that from experience that it's not something that I would want to wish onto anybody at all, because the gaslighting, the brain fog, that not knowing why I'm here, it's really one of those things that I went through that really had me lost and wanting to confide in someone other than myself, because I didn't know who else to turn to when I was going through these the dark moments. And I pride myself into being able to get in a space where I'm able to now speak about these issues, because again, it's my experience, but I also know that emptying me from that anger and the frustrations that I had with, and the rage that I had towards her, I was able to channel all those emotions in my music. And yeah, I'm so grateful that I was able to come to a moment where I'm better. I'm doing a lot better now. And yeah, it's not easy to read these words, and in a sense, like, it feels like I'm reliving it again. But I just know, like, for me, it heals me. It heals me, and it heals someone else who is also feeling like they're stuck in that anger and that trauma. And and my desire is that it helps someone to let go of anger, resentfulness, bitterness, because it only keeps. I know for me, it kept me stuck. It kept me at a low level, a low vibration. It kept me small, and I decided to get the help I deserved, and I decided to work on my healing journey through this mental abuse. And now I'm on the other side speaking about it through this book, right, that I have available on my website and on Amazon.com as well. So yeah, I just wanted to be transparent with you guys, because I know, like, a lot of this stuff that I've been through is not easy to just spill out the beans, and but I do channel it in my music, and I do leave it all on the plate, so to speak, or on the line, when I do rap, and I do these pieces, whether it's a poem or a rap. I do spill from real life experiences, in the hopes that I will empower someone else to write their story as well. Yeah, so that was tough, but I definitely will be excuse me, back next. I'll be back tomorrow doing another reading for my book. If you didn't purchase it, please purchase it. Please support. It's www.richvision.com. Link is in the bio. You can also order on Amazon as well if you like. But again, if you're ordering on Amazon, you don't get my business card and the custom bookmark for those who buy it from my website, which is a cool add-on. And sometimes I throw in a postcard also, with a ban of wristband under stigma or mental abuse. So So yeah, thank you so much for listening and sharing space with me. I will be back here tomorrow, sharing another one of my poems, and you have a great day.